how's everything with you?
Hi,
Chuck.
Hi, nice to meet you. Okay, I got you. That's the last name. Yeah.
Mission Squadron.
Should have met you probably like 9 months ago.
Well, if we had social events, we'd all probably have met a long time ago, right?
Nice to finally meet you.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats and silence all electronic devices as today's ceremony will begin shortly. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, please make sure you practice physical distancing and wear your mask for the entirety of the ceremony. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of today's Presiding Officer, Colonel David Everson, Commander, 52nd Fighter Wing, welcome to today's ceremony. This afternoon, Lieutenant Colonel Sean Loomis will assume command of the 480th Fighter Squadron. As a reminder to our military members, today's ceremony is considered an indoor event. Therefore, the wearing of headgear and rendering of salutes during the German and American national anthems is not required. Civilians may place their hand over their heart. At key points during the ceremony, you'll be asked to sit or stand. We are honored to have some special guests with us today. Please hold your applause until all guests are introduced. Lisa Epperson, spouse of Colonel Epperson, and their son, Trevor. Corinne Loomis, spouse of Lieutenant Colonel Loomis, and their children, Cody, Clara, and Jackson. The 52nd Fighter Wing Command Team, Vice Commander Colonel Jason Hokai, and the Command Chief, Chief Master Sergeant Stephanie Cates. Klaus Rodenz, 52nd Fighter Wing Honorary Commander and Deputy Mayor of Swingala. Manfred Rodenz, 52nd Operations Support Squadron Honorary Commander and Area Mayor for Speicher. Alphonse Sebastiani, 480th Fighter Squadron Honorary Commander and owner of Sebastianes Winery. Colonel Kerry Culberson, Division Chief, A5, USAFE, F Africa. Gail Smith, spouse of Colonel Christopher Smith, Commander, 52nd Operations Group. From the 52nd Operations Group, the Deputy Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Sean Bellamy, his spouse Susan, and Chief Master Sergeant Mark Rogers and his spouse Rachel. From the 52nd Maintenance Group, Commander Colonel James Vinson and his spouse Lindsay. From the 52nd Munitions Maintenance Group, Commander Colonel Michael Clancy, the Deputy Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Mark Leahy, and Chief Master Sergeant Jeremiah Dunnan. From the 52nd Mission Support Group, Deputy Commander Lieutenant Colonel Charles Goode. From the 52nd Medical Group, Deputy Commander Lieutenant Colonel Winton Lasley and Senior Master Sergeant Michael Gordon. We also extend a warm welcome to all other commanders, directors, chiefs, first sergeants, family, friends, host nation partners, and the men and women of the 480th Fighter Squadron, as well as those attending virtually. Thank you for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the German and American national anthems and the invocation.
Squadron, port right, rest.
Lieutenant Colonel John Foster will now offer the invocation.
Our Father in heaven, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for the opportunity to be here in Germany and to be part of this wonderful occasion as Lieutenant Colonel Loomis assumes command of the 480th. We ask that you will watch over the 480th and bless them to be open to Lieutenant Colonel Loomis's leadership and example. We ask that you will bless Corinne, Cody, Clara, and Jackson as they support Sean in this new role. Bless them to stay close as a family and always have time for each other. Bless the Warhawks in their missions to have wisdom and to strive to be outstanding airmen in all their tasks. Bless them to be a strong deterrence to those that would look to harm our families and our way of life. May they be strong enough for the challenges that will face them. We are grateful to be in this beautiful country and for the experiences and friendships we get to make as we help each other and lift each other. We give thee thanks in Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Colonel Foster. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce our presiding officer for today's ceremony, Colonel David Epperson.
Colonel Foster, thank you for providing the blessing on the Loomis family in this assumption of command today. Klaus, Manfred, Alphonse, thank you for being here. It's your continued partnership, especially through these challenging times in COVID, that we rely on here and make Spangdahl what it is. We thank thank you for your continued support. Pistol, thanks for coming up here. I know it means a lot to Rip and the family and the entire team here. Gail, I know you and I both wish that Smirk were here to do this today and to preside over this, but we know he's protecting our freedoms downrange. And for that, we thank both you and him and your family. And Rip, Smirk told me last night that he wishes he could be here to personally pass this guide on to you today, and just wishes you continued success in the rest of your career. To all the parents and siblings joining us all the way from the United States, especially Rip's mom and dad, Lieutenant Colonel retired Paul and Judy Loomis, and Corinne's dad and mom, Travis and Kathy Campbell, thank you for raising two tremendous people and giving Sean the freedom to join the Air Force instead of the Army. Corinne, Cody, Clara, and Jackson, thank you for all the support that you provide your husband and your dad and our nation. I know that each of you make sacrifices to let him serve in the Air Force. Corinne, I remember one of our first squadron events together, sitting at a picnic table outside in sunny Las Vegas, having a conversation and watching all the kids play together. I could immediately tell how caring you are and how easily you connect with people. I can see the Warhawk family will grow stronger with your leadership. Thank you for all that you have done and are about to do over the next couple of years. The 480th Fighter Squadron has a storied history, and it's fitting that it's a part of Sabre Nation, as the Warhawks first became a fighter bomber squadron flying the F-100 Super Sabre. During Vietnam, the 480th Tactical Fighter Squadron was a critical part of Operation Rolling Thunder, flying the F-4C. There, the Warhawks were credited with the first MiG-21 kill of the war, and they racked up 9 total stars on their aircraft for each of the MiGs they shot down. In November 1976, the 480th first came to Spangdahlem and simultaneously transitioned to the Wild Weasel suppression of the enemy air defense mission and picked up the brave distinction and mantra of first in, last out. The 480th, as we know it today, was reactivated 13 August 2010 and has continued to lead the fight since then, flying the mighty Viper. To all of you Warhawks, you continue to build on the 480th Fighter Squadron's legacy. You are the sentinels of European defense, and your actions deter our enemies. From flying NATO alert missions out of Iceland, where you directly deterred Russian bombers, to breaking barriers, becoming the first U.S. fighters to refuel from an Israeli tanker, to setting the record for your ability to support dynamic force employment downrange with minimal warning and meet the combatant commander's critical need for air power, earning rave reviews from the CFAC, all while paving the way for agile combat employment. You have built and maintained an outstanding partnership with the Aircraft Maintenance Unit that enables you to achieve astonishing successes no matter the challenge or endeavor. On top of it all, you are skilled aviators who continue to push the leading edge of one of the most challenging and rewarding mission sets, suppression of enemy air defense. You're the only unit in all of Europe that has the ability to knock down the door and gain access in spite of robust integrated air defenses. I am proud and humbled that you let me fly and serve alongside of you. Today I have the honor of giving you a new commander, Lieutenant Colonel Sean Rip Loomis. I first met Rip flying combat missions out of Balad Air Base in Iraq in 2009, and it was clear then that he was destined for great things in the future. I've been fortunate to continue crossing paths with Rip several more times. First, when he was a weapons officer and operational test pilot at Nellis, from where I was able to hire him back to be an F-16 weapons school instructor. And most recently, I seized the opportunity to hire him again, this time as my director of staff. I have leaned on him heavily this past year to carry out my mission priorities and to manage COVID, and he excelled at both. The weapons school has 3 traits we look for in all of our graduates: credible, humble, and approachable. I want to use these traits to frame why Lieutenant Colonel Loomis is the absolute best person to take command of the 480th Fighter Squadron today. First comes credible. Rip is a fighter pilot's fighter pilot. Although he may substitute LaCroix for a more typical fighter pilot's drink at the bar, every March his mustache rivals that of the famed Robin Olds. His credibility is handmade for the Warhawks. He has flown the Block 50, executing the SEED mission for 13 out of his 15 years in the Viper. During that time, he accumulated over 2,000 hours, 371 of them in combat. The top skilled pilots fill our operational test squadrons, which is where he was selected to go. And there he was rated as the top squadron instructor pilot and the group's top weapons officer. Then, only a few % of our community are invited back to earn the black border patch as instructors at the weapons school. Once there, Rip continued to stand out from his peers, earning the #1 of 40 directors of operation in the entire 57th Wing as a major. Finally, before coming back to the 52nd Fighter Wing, he was handpicked by General Walters to lead SEED development at the operational and strategic levels in USAFE. Perhaps the only blemish in Rip's credibility was his short stint as a fiend at Osan. But at least that was before they called themselves the SEED Squadron. Next comes humble. The true key is confident humility, which Lieutenant Colonel Loomis embodies to his core. As I just described, he has an impeccable resume of successes and distinctions. But did you know that he was the #1 of 417 officers in his Squadron Officer School class? I bet not. I didn't. That's because he quietly keeps his achievements to himself, while he proudly promotes and praises other airmen's successes. Ultimately, he focuses on the people and the mission in front of him and constantly sacrifices to put them first. Finally, is approachable. Lieutenant Colonel Loomis is easy to connect with no matter the topic. I have benefited firsthand from his smooth ability to connect with his students, from the most junior wingman to the most senior pilot in the wing. I can attest to the fact that he never belittles you for not knowing something, even if you should, as I have asked him some pretty basic and potentially not so smart questions over the years. I've also seen him connect with the most junior airmen to senior NCOs in our front office and help them achieve success outside their normal core specialties. He genuinely cares for each and every person he comes across and always makes the time to help us get better. Lieutenant Colonel Loomis, Rip, is credible, humble, and approachable, and the perfect match to command the 480th Fighter Squadron as you continue to crush the boundaries of ACE-enabled SEED. Magnum.
Thank you, Colonel. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the assumption of command.
Squadron attach hut. Publish the order.
Attention to orders. The Department of the Air Force has announced that effective 20 April 2021, by the order of the 52nd Fighter Wing Commander, Colonel David C. Epperson, Lieutenant Colonel Sean P. Loomis is assigned as Commander, 480th Fighter Squadron, Spangdahlem Air Base, Germany. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
All right, rust.
It is my honor to introduce the new commander of the 480th Fighter Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Sean Loomis.
I'd first like to start with thanks. That was much more than I was expecting from his speech. Yeah, so he talked a lot about me. I was it's way more than I was expecting, and probably a lot more flowery than I really am. So I appreciate it, sir. I truly appreciate your mentorship, your confidence in me, and the willingness to let me get out and lead the 480th. I appreciate that, sir. And to Colonel Hoka as well. Colonel Smith is not here. I appreciate your mentorship, your friendship, and keep me on the right path as I sometimes get out of my lane. So I appreciate that as well. To the honorees, thank you for the friendship that you bring to the base, to the squadrons, to the OSS, to the wing. That's one of the things that makes Bang Dong great is having the honorees we have here. I appreciate that. To all the other group commanders, chiefs, deputies, squadron commanders that I've worked with over the past year, it's been a pleasure working with you. I've learned so much, and I appreciate your example to me as I've tried to kind of stumble my way through as my time as a DS. Magic. I can't wait for the next 2 years. We're going to be thick as thieves for the next 2 years. It's going to be awesome. Thanks for what you've done for the past month leading the Warhawks, and I'm excited to have you for my DO for a few weeks until you step up and take command of the OSS. So thank you for your friendship and your support. All the other friends and family here, I'm thankful that you're here. I wanted this to be a family event. I wanted it to be a chance to be together, to celebrate the Warhawks, to celebrate the chance to move forward. To my parents, both my parents and my in-laws, thank you for all that you've done. Thank you to my in-laws for raising an amazing daughter. Thank you to my parents for supporting me and teaching me and instructing me on what I should be like, and I know that's most of the reason why I'm here today. To my wife and my kids, you guys are awesome. You guys, they keep me humble. So they are awesome, and they make sure I don't think that I'm too awesome. To my wife, she's amazing. I'm so thankful to have her by my side. I know that going through this with her is going to be so much easier than it would be without her. And I know that the Warhawk spouses are super excited to have her, to the point where they are already welcoming her in and making it known that she's amazing and that she's a huge addition to the Warhawks. So Colonel Epperson just talked about Lieutenant Colonel Loomis, about all the things that might have happened over a career. 10% rule is totally in effect. But I remember, and I feel like still that lieutenant that walked into a squadron here at Spangdahlem in September 2006. That's what I remember. I remember, being nervous, being worried if I was going to mess up, being super excited to be a lieutenant fighter pilot in a fighter squadron. I remember the TDYs, I remember the deployments, I remember the struggling through MQT, FLUG, IPUG. I busted lots of rides in those. I remember those things. I know where you guys are now, and I remember that. And I've tried to help the lieutenants understand that us lieutenants and lieutenant colonels have to stick together against all these captains and majors. So don't forget it. Save me a seat in the back row. But I remember those days. But I think the biggest thing I remember is I felt comfortable and happy in the squadron because we felt like a family. You might be wondering why we're doing this at almost 5 p.m. at night. Normally they happen during the day. Family's a big thing to me. I wanted to make sure that my family in the States could be here virtually to watch and attend. And that's how I want the squadron to feel as well. We're family. It's going to be a busy time. We're going to be busy. We're going to be on the road. We're going to have an awesome time. But we're going to go through it together. We're going to go through it together as a family. And that's not just the pilots. That's the spouses. That's the civilians that work in the squadron. That's everyone. We're a family, and I'm truly thankful to be part of this family and to get moving out. The most excited I am is for tomorrow. I wish today could just be done. I'm excited to get to work tomorrow. And I know that everyone in this room, especially the Warhawks, are excited to get to work tomorrow as well. So with that, I'll leave just one thing for the squadron. First in, Magnum.
Thank you, Colonel Loomis. At this time, the men and women of the 480th Fighter Squadron would like to render their first salute to Lieutenant Colonel Loomis.
Squadron Tadge Hut, present arms. So look forward to serving you. Order, arms. Parade, rest.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the 480th Fighter Squadron flagship, where Staff Sergeant Konstantin Morozuk will reveal the name of the new 480th Fighter Squadron Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Sean Loomis.
Sir, 480th Fighter Squadron flagship, combat ready.
It looks beautiful. Good job, sir.
Colonel Loomis would now like to present flowers to Corinne and Clara to commemorate this day and thank them for their support. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Air Force Song.
Squadron Tadge Hut,